is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
The views and opinions expressed by the program host do not necessarily state or reflect the official views and position of Sunshine Radio DZR 1026 Manila, Suarosug Media Corporation, and Sunshine Media Network International.
Magandang gabi Pilipinas at sa buong mundo. Narito po akong muli si Peter Serrano para sa 3 p.m. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, Pilipinas muna. At magandang gabi rin po kay Pastor Apollo Kibuloy. Pastor, maraming salamat po sa pagbibigay ng pagkakataon na maging bahagi ng paglalahad ng mahalagang katotohanan dito sa SMNI para sa Diyos at sa Pilipinas nating mahal. Constant is change. It's a cliche, but it is an inevitable truth. Classic, proven and tested, and have stood the test of time. Mga ka-3PM, mabilis ang takbo ng buhay. Malingat ka lang, may nagbago na, may napalitan na, may naiba na. Pero ang pagtanggap sa pagbabago ay hindi dahilan para makalimutan ang kagalingan ng nakaraan. Ang naiambag o naging contribution nito sa makabagong panahon. Sa sining at kultura, isa sa pinakadakila sa larangan ng pagtatanghal ay ang pag-awit. Lalo na sa disiplina ng classical singing or ang tinatawag nating opera. Sa ibang bansa, lalo na sa Europa, ito ay buhay na buhay pa. Ngunit dito sa atin, sa Pilipinas, parang nabura na. Panoorin natin ito. Tonight, we have titled our episode, Mainstream Reintroduction to Classical Singing. Mga ka-3 p.m. siguro madalas pag naririnig natin ng classical, ang unang pumapasok sa ating mga isipan ay makaluma, boring, corny, walang buhay, o laos na. On the contrary, no. Because this discipline is one of the most respected and even looked up to in the international performance arena of the performing arts. At ito at pag-uusapan natin ngayong gabi, ang halaga, ang kalagayan at ang kinabukasan ng classical singing at music sa Pilipinas ngayon. Our guest for tonight is an impressive Filipino soprano, nakita nyo naman. She studied voice at the UP College of Music, obtained a professional diploma in music majoring in opera studies from the Hong Kong Academy for the Performing Arts in 1996, as British Council scholar. Then studied at the Conservatorium der Stadt Wien in Vienna, Austria. A 3-time Alieu awardee for Best Female Classical Performer. One of the founders and artistic director of Viva Voce Workshop. Also the founder and artistic director of Viva Voce Laboratory, which has assisted and organized voice workshops and masterclasses. Mga ka-3 p.m., our very special guest for this evening, Camille Lopez Molina.
Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Camille.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
My pleasure.
Napakalaking bagay sa akin yung ma-invite to talk about classical singing.
The thing that you love the most. Kasi si Camille po, bata pa kami sa UP nung araw eh. Tayo nila Garit, alala mo yon?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's, ilang taon na ba? Garit?
Binibilang pa ba yun?
Well, eto na lang ang tanong.
Oo.
Ilang taon ka nagsimula? When did you discover that you can actually sing this difficult kind of singing?
Okay, teka ha. Let me go back. I grew up listening to opera because my parents, members ng Opera Chorus of the Philippines. Yeah.
Ooh.
So medyo weird yung background ko. But so my dad also loved records. Yeah. And nakikinig siya parati lalo na kasi nagka-polio siya. So may sakit siya. Nakikinig siya sa radyo sa bahay nila sa Malabon. Yun ang gusto niya pinakikinggan. Nahanap niya yung opera sa radyo.
Meron pa tayo nun eh, no?
Yes, and doon siya na-orient sa opera. Yeah, and tapos, so I grew up with records, ganyan. And then, na-explore ko yung record collection ng daddy ko siguro mga 9 years old. Ganyan. Kasi meron siyang ang gaganda ng pictures, ang laking plaka. Yung
yung
LP.
playing.
Yes, tapos may pictures, tapos may libreto. Yung libreto, pag binasa mo siya, nandun yung lyrics nung kinakanta nila, parang lyrics sheet sa karaoke, pero nandun yung original language, so Italian or French or German, tapos may translation na English. And I was so intrigued kasi nakikita ko naririnig ko yung kinakanta nila, naintindihan ko eh. Tapos yung sinasabi nila, and then I was reading the English translation, and that really put me onto opera. And I explored their collection, and then they also had this book. It was called The Victor Book of Opera. And it's a book of opera stories with pictures. Yeah? As in, lumang pictures na turn of the century, ganyan. Vintage. And then, babasahin mo yung mga stories. Actually, parang feeling ko, I look on it, parang hindi pang bata yung mga story. Kasi love stories all about sex, betrayal, and you know. But I read all of it. Siguro kaya ako intriga.
Yeah.
And then, with the records there also, then I really dove into it. Like any child na biglang, uy, tingnan ko, like sa YouTube, they look it up, you know, their favorite music. O yun, doon ako nagkaroon ng interest sa opera.
So parents,
yes,
and their collections, and
their work.
eventually,
yes,
the stories that you have read in the book.
Yes. And then,
Kasi ako naman, Camila, no, kahit basahin ko yan, I don't think I can sing an opera. Kailan mo nakita na meron kang talent in doing this?
Okay, kasi I studied piano also. Right? So, my mom would accompany a lot of people. She's a pianist. Yeah, and she worked at the Metropolitan Theater as choral director for how long?
What's the name of your mom?
Mirna Lopez.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
yan. And so, maraming productions
Kasama
doon.
nila Conchita.
Yes, sila Tita Conchi. Yes.
Oh.
Sila Beverly and sila Isay.
Yeah.
Yes. Our Met Chorus. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So I would watch them, ganyan, and then I would go home, and then pretty soon, listening to it, sasabay ka. Yeah, because my mom also had the scores. Yeah, and I would hear when she would accompany her friends and her colleagues, ganyan. And when they have performances, they would rehearse, kasama kami, kalagarin mga anak, or kasama sa production. So, at some point, I tried it. Wala lang, kaya alam ko na siya. Pwede ko na siyang sundan, ganon.
Wow.
Yeah, and then, so when I was, I think, 11, at that time, Maestro Isang Tapales, who's one of the great Filipino sopranos, was giving lessons at our house in Canlaon. And my mom told Maestra, please, can she have a lesson with you? Because she loves opera. So, and meron kasing kundiman competition sa STC, QC, which is where I studied. And so, para rin magpa-coach, ganyan. So, pinakinggan ako ni Maestra Isang, sabi niya, you hear that? No, nothing. Hi! Wala na ako ganyan, pero...
Oh my God.
Ay, okay, ganyan. Sige, and then she vocalized me lesson. And then long after that, my mom seriously, I think when I was 14, she brought me to Tita Fides in UP.
Fides Cuyugan, Asensio.
Yes. And that's where
Ibalit ng mama ko yan.
Talaga, yes. And so that's when I started lessons. And yun na yun. Yeah.
So, lumaki ka practically surrounded by culture and the arts because both your parents are into it and your mom is a pianist.
Yes.
And
frankly, I didn't think of it as culture and the arts. Wala lang,
you eat it for breakfast.
Yeah. May costumes, may makeup. Yeah. Pag may production, pipila kami doon sa makeup artist na pinakamakapal maglagay ng makeup. Ganyan. Kasi enjoy yung mga bata. Ganyan, nakakatuwa. Wala lang. Yeah.
That is what's so wonderful, mga ka-3PM, if you surround yourself with people that can actually influence you. Kaya tayo, if we want to be influenced, we have to surround ourselves with people, good people at that, na makakatulong sa growth natin, not just as an artist, but as a person. Like what happened to Camille. So Camille, 14 years old, andun ka na, and then you met Tita Fides.
Yeah, and then 16, I graduated. I was the worst underachiever in school because my mind was on music. Yeah, so lumilipad utak ko niyan. I was a frustration of my homerooms. But finally, I got to the College of Music, and I discovered, sorry po, I'll probably get in trouble for this, but that my background had already given me a big chunk of what I was gonna study in UP. I was fascinated by the culture, by the people.
Okay.
By the people, the teachers, the classes, ganyan. Pero siguro kasi wala
Yung
akong...
lessons mismo, parang hindi na bago sa'yo. Parang ganon.
Yes. And but of course, the theory subjects like dictation and all the serious side of it, that was exciting.
That was exciting. One
Yeah.
thing that, Camille, that amazes me sa mga opera singers are the study in language. Like you have to study German, French, Italian, even Latin, right?
Yes.
So how do you get to grasp all those languages? Do you actually speak it?
Actually, no. No, there are some that I do. Yeah, as in basic, I'm not saying I'm fluent, blah. No, but I can converse basic and have a basic conversation. But in general, you do have to study the diction, and the meaning of what you're singing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and lucky for those who are used to listening to foreign languages, I think now kids have a much bigger advantage with YouTube and yung mga translation sa cable TV na in different languages.
At saka Google Translate.
Mismo, yes. So they have that advantage. Kasi kami noon, talaga titingin ka sa libro ng translation. You will look for the dictionary and look it up. I was lucky because my dad loved opera so much, he would translate. He didn't study, No, not for me, for his own pleasure.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he got the dictionaries, he would get the librettos, and then he has scores with his handwriting. I have scores with his handwriting that he translated into Filipino, like Pagliacci, Cavalleria, ganyan. And I guess that I absorbed that. He didn't teach me or show me or whatever, but because they were lying around. The dictionaries were lying around.
So might as well.
I guess. Just so if I have something to check, can I see, ganyan. But you're just a child. Like a child. You're a child playing around, looking at things, ganyan. So, I guess, ganun talaga. I think like any child na bigyan mo ng instrumento, pag na-bore na, ayan, oy, ano to? Ganda.
I'm looking at you right now, Camille, I'm imagining your childhood, and I find it so fascinating in my mind. Imagining na nagkalat dyan ng dictionary of international languages and you're just there as a child, looking whatever you're looking for and understanding the languages.
Diba? And not minding my real studies. My school.
Who cares? So Camille, nung lumalaki ka, of course, nagkaroon ka ng studying opera and understanding what it is. Nagkaroon ka, of course, ng influences.
Yes.
Sino, bukod sa parents mo, who's, I think, you're two top influencers, sino yung mga nag-influence sa'yo in becoming this fantastic opera singer?
You know, it's all of the singers who were my mom's friends and colleagues who I saw perform, who I saw rehearse with her. Kasi they would have so much fun. They had so much fun. It didn't seem like they were working. They would rehearse, you know, like especially Tito Gami Viray, you know, Tito Manny Gregorio, and even when I was in UP, all the people who were already there, you know, who were senior than me, and they were all performing already and watching. You know, when you watch them and go into this work, you see people seriously at work. And then they're having fun, and then you hear this music, and then you see it in the theater, and wow, and you see costumes, and then, or palaki ng palaki yung you know, yung playground mo. Yes, And so, wala, ito sa normal progression, I think. Because hindi ko kailangan ng video. Wala pang video games
video
wala pang computer. Ano, coloring book yan. But in terms of visual, talagang live yung presentation. And then we would go to the Met and and see all the shows. And the CCP was already there. I have a lot of significant moments in in performance as watching as a child. So wala na, I was doomed from the beginning. This would be it.
It's wonderful to understand that, Camille, when we look at what we do. Kasi po ako, I am a theater actor. Camille is an opera singer. Pero we both are theatrical performers. So pero syempre, magkaiba kami ng disiplina when it comes to our performances. So Camille, yung disiplina, paano mo dinisiplina yung sarili mo to be on top of the game?
Alam mo, honestly, ang daming mas masipag sa akin.
Really?
Oh yeah. Except that, I love it so much, I guess, that when I have an opportunity to perform, it's such a joy.
Yeah.
And it's not work. Because it will give you your performance added dimension when you look it up. Like, who are the best interpreters of this aria, of this opera? Who was really good in this? And then, what did they do? And then you can compare all of that. And then you're like, oh, I can do that. Oh, I want to try that. Yeah. Yung mga ganyan ba? And then, at saka yung, again, I think the music as play, or the languages as play. Sige nga, ganito pala itsura nun. Or maybe because I was listening to records and following the libretto, it was familiar. I was lucky. I was lucky with that. Kasi, so sa akin, sige nga, I'll pretend that I'm a native speaker. Ganyan. And that's, children do that. It's so easy for children to learn languages, di ba? So, pag na-pretend ka na, tapos na usapan. Kaya kung ipeke yung, even if I don't speak it, I can have the accent. Yung ganyan. So, that was fun. That's really fun.
So, Camille, nung nakikita mo na yan, nandoon ka na sa College of Music, of course, kasi ako din, I started like when I was 15 years old. So, ano kasi, pag nakikita mo, meron kang sinusundan na tao na ganyan. Parang, i-idolize mo siya, you will admire that person. For you, who was that?
I would have to say, yung sinundan ko na hiniram namin sa video na tapos talagang influence with me would be Placido Domingo.
A guy?
You know why?
Why?
Because when you watch Placido, and there will be some people who will debate this, but to me, complete, as in P-L-E-A-T, complete performer si Placido Domingo. He had the musicality, he had the voice, he had the acting ability, the charisma. He had the looks, the height, and when he went, and I guess, and all, actually, their batches, his batch of opera singers that my dad would borrow video VHS pa sa Green Hills or from Makati. Everybody who watched this opera know that there were only 2 places and to borrow VHS. Anyway, and you watched that. Ang gagaling, the level of performance was so good. And I guess on recording it would be Maria Callas because my dad loved Maria Callas. And he got
Maria
and
Callas.
Maria Callas, you listen to her, and then you follow the score, and everything is there. She does everything.
Yeah, I remember watching her on video. Parang she's done all the operas there was.
Hindi naman.
Pero ang dami kasi.
No, but she did perform a wide range. So hindi lang siya...
What does it mean?
Okay, here we go. You have different categories, no? Different kinds of vocal categories. So for female, in general, there's the soprano and the mezzo soprano. But meron pang divisions yan. Yeah, and depende what you look at, there are the lyric coloratura, which is the very high bird-like voices. Yes, yeah. And then the lyric leggera, a bit more with more body to the voice, but still the same range.
Yeah.
You have the lyric soprano. O yan, medyo nagdadalaga na. Yeah, and then you have the full lyric soprano. Medyo siguro mga mid-30s na yung ano natin, peg natin, a fuller voice. Yes, and medyo lower na on range. And then you have the dramatic soprano who is full probably my age. Ganyan na, pag tumili, ibang, so they sing different kinds of music. And for mezzo also there's the mezzo soprano, there's a lyric mezzo, which is the lighter kind of darker sound. Light as in hindi siya yung parang baka is the only word that comes to mind.
Parang tunog baka. Yung gano'n.
Ganyan, yes. So,
kumbaga sa lalaki, bass.
Yeah. Kumbaga sa lalaki, ano siya, boy soprano. Yan. Mezzo, light lyric mezzos do a lot of trouser roles. Young boys. Yan, yung role nila.
So you're saying that as you age, your voice change?
Yes, for sure.
For sure.
Because the body is your instrument.
Yeah.
So it changes talaga.
Kasi, once you are, like say, you're a coloratura forever.
No. And that's the hard thing. One of the things about classical music is because the repertoire itself is very challenging. Yeah, range-wise, and you have to sing it. Number one, classical music is normally sung live without amplification.
Yes.
In a venue that's suited for the human for voice, yeah, with good acoustic.
Yeah.
And then the accompaniment is live. That can be an instrument like the piano, but for an opera, it would be an orchestra.
An orchestra, like what we saw kanina sa clip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tapos, you have costumes and movement. You have some operas require you to dance. Some will require you to, be an act.
To perform.
All the things, yes.
Yeah.
To do the drama, the theater side part of it. And these are all combined. And habang tumatanda ka, your abilities change. And so the also, but top of that talaga is your body changes. It matures. The vocal folds thicken, and they are not as supple and as stretchy as when you're young.
When you feel the change coming, does it frustrate you?
Yes.
Really?
Me now, yes. Yeah. So because I'm at that point, I'm in my 50s. And it's totally different from what I was used to doing. And if I want to continue singing, I am working on having to know how to work with my voice the way it is now. And my body.
Yeah.
Kasi pag bata ka, kahit ano pwedeng kantahin yan. A child can do anything. Yeah, it's so stretchy, they're so imaginative, walang hadlang yan.
Wow.
Yes.
So, speaking of hadlang, the state of classical singing and singer now, right now, 2023, where are we? Filipinos.
I would say that in terms of the number of people, young people who are actually interested in singing, who love singing, who are studying, there has been a rise in the number. Madami na sila.
There is?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yes, and I think if you watch opera here, whatever performances we have here, you will notice that the demographic is getting younger. Yeah? The only place probably where it's not getting so young would be the big performances where the tickets are expensive and there are no complimentary tickets.
Yeah, and they're looking for the star.
And it's an event, and that, of course, that would be for people with financial means, ganyan. Pero for younger people, intimate performances and a lot of marami na sa kanila interested. I think it's the advent of the internet and YouTube. What we really need help with, though, in the classical scene would be, I guess, streamlining the music education. Because I think all you have to do is compare the curricula of the music schools abroad, where you have voice courses and opera courses, with the curricula here, and you will find there's a big difference. There's a very big difference.
But is that cultural, or is that what do you call this? Cultural ba yan, or the habit of teaching?
I think it's more our mindset towards education, because our education is geared, we want a well-rounded education. We want people who are well-versed in the arts, the sciences, math and ganyan, everything in there. The problem is when you have a specialized field like music, you get bogged down by general education subjects, because the basic music subjects which you should be taking, or for example in voice, the basic voice subjects are all smushed together to make way for the curriculum that's general education, for math, for statistics, for psychology, for social sciences. If you look at curriculum abroad, it would be piano, movement, diction in different languages, coaching in different languages. It's geared towards your music education.
Okay.
That's number one. And then number two is, I guess, classical music as a real industry.
Please talk about that. As an industry, do we even have a classical music industry
we
in the
have
country?
some sort of, but you see, that's why there's this misconception about, wag kang mag-music, walang pera dyan. And I beg to disagree. Well, there are contexts that you have to consider. For example, each person has his or her own path going to being a musician. Kanya-kanya yan. Iba-ibang paraan ang pagpunta dyan. But if a person is passionate about it, they will end up being musicians. And I know a lot of musicians who make a living as musicians.
Yes.
And they're happy, and they have families, and they are not starving. And you know why? It's because they're good at what they do. Just like any field. If you want this to be your bread and butter, you have to have the chops. You need to show that you're good, so that people pay to get you. Now, but specifically for classical music, we have orchestras that have their own seasons. But we have opera companies that don't have venues even.
Okay.
No venue.
They're there, but they have nowhere to perform.
They exist, but there's nowhere to perform. All the best venues for singing were torn down. I mean, for smaller, because the bigger one,
we're
of
not
course,
talking
CCP.
about the Philharmonic Orchestras in Manila.
We're not talking about like CCP, but like the smaller venues that are more affordable, easier to fill with audiences, acoustically wonderful to sing in. They're not there.
Just a venue. Parang
yes,
ganon.
yes. We have venues that are good for mic'd concerts.
Okay.
Not acoustic. Which is then, it defeats the purpose. You don't have, it's like having a basketball team without a basketball court. Where do they play? In the grass. You know, how will they compete? That's a major sad
predicament.
Fact. Yes, yes. And if you look at our neighboring countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Korea.
Diyan ako naloka when you told me earlier that the ASEAN or other Asian countries are actually thriving when it comes to classical performances and classical music.
Yes.
And we are supposed to be Hindi sa pagyayabang mga ka-3PM, but we are supposed to be the more talented people, race.
Yeah, that's a fact. Ganun.
Yeah.
But we were ahead in Asia. We were ahead. I mean, the first, I think among the first members of the Singapore orchestra, for example, Singapore Philharmonic, the Hong Kong Orchestra, puro Pilipino yan.
Oh.
Yes, and then we had the first Philharmonic orchestra in Asia.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had it. Yeah, we used to have a lot of singers who went to Europe who had careers. Yeah, major careers. And ang dami niya. I'm so sorry. I should have gotten a list so that I can
It's okay. It's okay. This is not going to be your last time here, Camille, to talk about this.
But we're so proud of them, and there's so little material about them.
Yeah.
We have no resource material for who the singers were, the great Filipino singers who we barely know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sa pagbabalik natin, Camille, we're going to talk more about who these people are, at least a few of them, at more on classical opera singing and classical music here on 3 p.m. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, Pilipinas muna.
We're glad you found SMNI News. If you subscribe to TV programs that help build the nation, then we got you covered. Watch your favorite TV shows through GSAT TV Channel 40, Signal TV Channel 186. And if you are a Sky Cable subscriber, you can watch SMNI in National Capital Region, Sky Cable Channel 162, Cebu, Sky Cable Channel 37, Davao City, Sky Cable Channel 14, 43, and 46. General Santos City, Sky Cable Channel 37. Zamboanga, Sky Cable Channel 53. Bacolod, Sky Cable Channel 37. Iloilo, Sky Cable Channel 36. Dumaguete, Sky Cable Channel 37. Baguio, Sky Cable Channel 14. And Lawag, Sky Cable Channel 10. You may also watch SMNI on digital TV in Davao City and Manila, and also in TV Plus and GMA for the Box, and over 500 cable TV affiliates nationwide. Watch SMNI on digital channels in Mega Manila, Channel 39 and 43. We are also on analog TV in Lawag, Channel 35, Isabela, Channel 37, Vegan, Channel 38, Rojas, Channel 39, Butuan, Channel 39, and Davao, Channel 43. If you're on your mobile phone, download SMNI app or visit smni.com to get the latest news, updates, and more. Also, browse through the day's top stories and receive notifications for breaking news. Watch us live on our official Facebook and Rumble accounts, and you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, so you don't miss out on our extra minute segments. Wherever you decide to watch, we're glad you choose SMNI News, the home of nation builders who bravely bring truth that matters.
Babalik muli at 3 p.m. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, Pilipinas muna, and we're still here with Camille Lopez Molina. Camille, our program is highly interactive, so I'm just going to read first itong mga reactions or questions sa ating mga loyal na ka-3 p.m. This one's coming from Rainier John Season. He said, "Truly, that music is the language of our soul. Mabuhay mga ka-3 p.m. Mabuhay." Jessie Latori. Good PM po sa inyo. Ganon din po sa mga taga-subaybay ng 3 p.m. Good evening, Lynn Tamayo. Happy evening to all ka-3 p.m. all over the world in Sir Peter Serrano and SMNI family. Good evening and thank you. Tita Dolores, hi! Music brings your soul to places and inspirations. Exactly. Sabi ni Crank Brothers. Hi, Crank! Present. Yeah, I'm happy you're there, Crank. Rodel Fuentes. Wow, 3 p.m. Good evening, SMNI at mga ka-3 p.m. J. Mark Marzo. Happy good evening watching from San Fernando City, La Union. Hi! Oh, hello daw, Pastor Apollo. J. Ward, napakaganda ng topic, nakaka-inspire. Gaya ko na mahilig sa music. Ang dami kong na-learn kay Ma'am Camille. How to motivate myself na mahilig sa music. Thank you po. Mabuhay po kayo lahat mga ka-TPM. Lalo na po kay Pastor Apollo. Thank you very much. Admin, hi Arnel! Yes, that is true. Of course, course ko, conducting and composition. Yes, I was punished by
Algebra.
I was punished by algebra. Sana pala sumali ako sa discussion. Pinapapunta kita dito kanina eh. Pero thank you very much, Arnel, for being here with us. Ating pong OWA Administrator, Arnel Ignacio. Now, Camille, going back to my question to you kanina, at least name 3 people who have become very successful abroad. Ito ba nasa Europe ba sila? Or not
actually,
necessarily?
I have 3 in mind, and they were born here and then they went abroad, but all of them had careers in both America and Europe.
Oh, who are these?
So I'm come to my ito lang is Miss Evelyn Mandak, who's a soprano. Yeah, and she was both a Fulbright and she had 2 major scholarships, and she went to Juilliard, and she had a major career. She sang at the Met, she sang at Tanglewood, she performed all over Europe, and then we also have tenors Otoniel Gonzaga, who I think was born here and then went to the States and went to Curtis, as well as the other tenor I'm going to mention, Mr. Noel Velasco, who's a tenor, yeah, and they both I think were at Curtis, and then they. Tito Noel, I knew, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky, that I've known them from childhood and heard them and live.
You actually heard them, watch them singing.
They were at my house. He was, anyway.
Yeah,
it boggles the mind.
Yeah,
When I grew up and I realized this, it's like, wow, and Noel Velasco won the Luciano Pavarotti competition and proceeded to sing all over, also the major houses in Europe and in the United States and all the other continents. I probably don't even know all the other places where he's gone, but all them. Yeah. And then currently we have Phil-American tenor Arthur Espiritu, but his wife is here now. He's based here now, and he has 3 lovely kids. But he's singing internationally as well.
She does. I hope to have them here. At least all of those who are here in Manila.
Yes. And of course we have my Margarita is in this. Yes, and then yes, you have Andion in Germany. Andion Fernandez.
Is she still singing? Andion Fernandez.
Yes, as far as I know. And then we have Abdul Candao in Vienna, and then right now there are so many talented young people out there, from all the schools in Manila who have been studying and performing.
What a venue that I admire so much was Tita J. Glorioso's small theater in Makati, right along Makati Avenue. I performed there.
Yes, you did.
I did the maids there.
Yes.
It is a small theater po, owned by Tita J. Glorioso. Well, all of us na mga performers, we don't care. It's a small theater that houses
it's lovely.
100 audience, right?
100 to 120,
120 audience.
Yeah.
It's very intimate, but Tita J's dedication to the arts, she produces it. The venue is hers, and she just lets people perform there. Us, theater, opera singers, flamenco dancers.
Yes. We're so lucky to have Tita J. And
Tita J, thank you.
Super, thank you. She's, oh my gosh, can I tell you, Viva Voce owes her so much. We love her. As a matter of fact, just last June we did La Boheme in Mirror Studio Theater. And we had a wonderful time, and it was so well received that we had to put.
I saw the picture. I was so envious.
Oh, thank you.
Medyo na-detach po kasi ako mga 3 p.m. sa arts. Medyo na-detach ako. My last play was 2014, and from there,
2014.
9 years ago was my last play, and my soul is really maalug-alug na siya. Gusto niya ng kumawala and, you know, do it again.
Yeah.
But I hope very soon that I will be back in theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
You should.
I hope.
You should.
So, yeah. Pero Camille, future of classical singing and music in the Philippines, kasi people think that parang sa mayayaman lang yan. Baka naman hindi namin kaya yan. Saan ba kami pwede pumunta? Magkano ba ang bayad dyan? Yung mga ganyang questions. Because, as you said, marami ang gusto. Or yung iba, nasa utak pa lang nila yung kagustuhan nila, but they actually don't know where to go. So, please?
Okay. Well, there are how many music schools in Manila? There's UP, there's UST, there's Santa Isabel, there's St.
PWU?
Scholastica, there's there's PWU, there's St. Paul, there's this is in Manila. This is just in Manila, and you have music schools.
St. Scholastica?
Yes, St. Scholastica College Manila, my school, where I teach mainly, and so they can go to all these schools and inquire and apply. There are audition requirements. I think for
Paano yung audition requirement, Camille? Let's say I want to study in UP. Kasi public school, libre. So how do I, what's the way to get into it?
Alam ko you have to prepare for theory exam, the live auditions, and the UPCAT. Now, I don't know in what order you have to take it. Basta there's an order.
May UPCAT na music?
May UPCAT, di ba? I think so, yes.
Oh, okay,
dapat because it's a quota. There's a number of slots lang that they accept. Yeah. So you have to pass all three. Yeah. Yep. And so they announce that I think you have to sing an Italian and a Filipino song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It changes, and it depends on when they update it.
Yeah.
But I think it's similar to all schools, more or less. You have to sing. You have to take a placement exam for theory. But it's particularly stringent in UP because of the quota, because it's a scholar, because scholar ng bayan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to, competitive ang
Wow.
Yeah,
Pero mga ka-3PM, you have to consider it. Kasi alam mo naman, Camille, this generation of young people na, the influences of TikTok,
Yes.
what they see there and all that. Pero alam mo, one thing ako, papagyabang ko lang to dito sa Kingdom of Jesus Christ, kay Pastor Kibuloy, I have judged a competition of children. And I encountered 200 children singing, dancing, playing classical instruments. And orchestra, full orchestra.
Wow.
And ang nasabi ko talaga, oh my gosh, sabi ko kay Mampina, parang dito ko nakita ang future ng music, ng arts. I got so excited that I stayed there the whole day. Yes. Yeah. So Camille, when it comes to discovering these talents, how are we like now? Kasi po, mga ka-3PM, ang larangan po ng sining at ng kultura ay napakahalaga para sa nation building, para sa pagtaguyod ng ating bayan. Because I remember Dr. Anton Juan, one of our directors in theater, told us, nagka-company call kami noon after the rehearsal, he said that a country without art is a nation without a soul. So beautiful when he said that. So it stuck with me. So, mga ka-3PM, we need to understand, kasi pag naiintindihan natin ang kultura natin, naiintindihan natin kung sino tayo. Right?
Yes.
Now, given that you're a Filipino and you studied abroad, both in Hong Kong and in Austria, did you feel that you had an advantage, or the other race had more advantage than you?
Okay. I think, being a Filipino, what made me proud and what I saw as an advantage was the fact that I loved it and it was easy for me to let it out, to let my feelings out. That's not, people think it's easy to express through music. No, Filipinos are talented.
Yeah.
In that way, I believe that Filipinos have a gift. Yeah?
I know.
Because we are just really innately so generous.
And we're innately talented.
And innately musical. Now, I think that's half the problem. Because the other half is, how do you channel that talent and hone it to the best that it can be? Yeah? Now, there are ways of different ways of learning. It's not just through a school, it's through doing. There are different ways of teaching. Yeah? And we all have access to these now. Yeah? But unfortunately, classical music is one of those where you just have to really go to school.
You really have to go to school.
Because there are the singing. Maybe you can have a lot of famous opera singers went to private voice teachers, studied how to sing. You can do that. Yeah. If you play an instrument, yes, you can do that. But exposure to a worldview of music history, of context. Music context that includes literature, that includes politics, that includes culture. That is learned. That you need experienced teachers. And teachers who understand that, humanities as a whole, interrelation. And yan, they're all interrelated. Magkakasama sila.
Yeah.
You cannot separate. Yeah? That's culture and the humanities and they go
But
together.
precisely that, Camilo, the one I'm asking
Yes.
you, in relation with Viva Voce Laboratory, your workshop classes, because you offer master classes, because you said this has to be learned.
Yeah.
You have to study it and all that. Does it have to be a formal school? Can I go to Viva Voce?
Okay. In Viva Voce, let me clarify. Viva Voce voice workshops were a series of intensive voice workshops that we did in 2010 to 2012, in Baguio. And it was conceptualized. This was after I was able to attend several voice workshops abroad, intensive voice workshops and voice clinics. And there were so many things that I learned, and we wanted to put that into practice. Now, my husband and I co-teach. And we had
for your
friends.
information, Camille is married to Pablo Molina. He is a tenor, opera singer also.
Yes, and he's our technician. He's the technical side of our team, of our tandem. But anyway, Viva Voce Voice Lab, we thought it up because we had so many students in the schools of music. And we were thinking, if they're not gonna go abroad to study, and they want to be professional musicians, then they have to be able to perform already when they graduate, right? And that's where do you go when there's no established like opera studio, opera voice young artist program? There's none. So what we did was because we put it up together with, at the time, tenor Randy Gilongo, tenor Glenn Gerlan, pianist Najib Ismail, pianist Peter Porticos, and my husband Pablo. And then later on, we were joined by Rica Nepomuceno. And then, so what we did was, these are all for singing. Singing, and then for diction, and then for deportment. And we also had exercises, intensive exercises for, body work, like using your body to go with the music, with your voice, and letting it out, freeing your voice, so that when you are ready, after that, you're more comfortable with yourself, your technique.
So that is what Viva Voce is offering.
That was what the workshops were for.
Okay.
Now, our center just happened to be opera because they were all voice majors from different schools. But there were 2 or 3 who were not. They were students from they were studying something else, psychology, and then I forget what else they were, dentistry, ganyan, na mahihilig kumanta. So, sali sila doon.
Who knows the technique?
And see, it's not even technique, it's you singing, and see, let's bring that up. Technique, what you mean by technique is finding ways, learning how to use your voice. Yes.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of different techniques that you can find. There's so many. And all teachers more or less apply what they can, what they know, what they can get their hands on, to whatever the student needs.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
The technique, there's a million. Anybody can. But there are main schools of vocal technique. Yeah, I will not mention them, but there are.
Yeah.
But those are categories that they're not absolute. Yeah. Mostly, if you're a smart teacher, you get what you think your student needs. You learn that. Yeah. And but the goal of all technique is just healthy singing.
What is that?
Healthy singing. Precise. How do you use your voice that you can use it over and over? You can sing high, sing low, sing loud, sing soft, without killing yourself. Yes.
Without hurting yourself.
And basically knowing how to use your instrument so that you can forget technique and become a genuine. And it becomes a genuine instrument of expression.
Parang naging second nature mo na.
Oo. Kumbaga, halimbawa, gusto mo tong kantang to, gusto kong magwala, gusto kong oh my God, can't live! Ganyan, di ba? Halimbawa, okay, ganyan. Pero namamatay-matay ka, kailangan mong babaan yung key. Yeah. Pero you want to study. I want to sing it in that key. I want to learn. Bakit ako pumipiyok dyan? You know, it always starts... technique serves a purpose.
Exactly.
And that is to serve the music.
Exactly.
Yeah? And people who go into classical music, yun yung music na gusto nilang pagsilbihan. They want the muse to perform that music, classical. And that's why the study is guided by that love. Yun yun.
Okay. Let's just read a comment here from our audience.
Sure.
This is coming from Jericho Manuel of Pasay City. Hi, Ma'am Camille and Direct Peter. I love classical music. Why is the genre not popular in the Philippines? What should be done to relive this kind of music here in the Philippines? Agyamanak, SMNI, and 3PM. So, paano daw i-relieve ito, Camille? But because that is actually what we want to achieve in this topic that we have right now. How do we do this?
You know, it's a two-way thing. You build your musicians and you build your audience.
But how do we begin
So
this?
we have to go to the children. We have to go to the schools. Because that is where they will get their first taste of it.
Yeah.
That is where they will get that first sense of wonder. That's where you have access to them.
Like what happened to you?
Yes.
Like what happened to me?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And that early exposure will provide them at least a germ of something of interest that will eventually can build into genuine patronage of classical music.
Yeah, and genuine passion.
Yes, and passion. Yes.
Yeah.
So you can be a performer or they can be audiences. Yeah. So two-way yan.
Kasi Camille, meron kami dito, meron ako na nag-convener, I'm a convener of Artists for Nation Building, and actually it is my dream. Inuulit-ulit ko to from the time na nag-guest ako sa Laban Kasama ang Bayan. The Artists for Nation Building, its drive is to actually promote all disciplines of the arts para kasi po pampataas po ng kalidad ng ating to become critical thinker as people para po yung mga pinapanood natin hindi po tayo limitado doon sa nakakakitid ng utak. Dapat po lumalawak ang pag-iintindi natin sa kung anong meron tayo bilang mga Pilipinong talento. Hindi ba, Camille?
Yes, and also sabihin mo nang, okay, but what does that have to do with me? You know, but if an individual studies something so intently, yung kung paano ka mag-isip, kung paano ka mag-aral, at kung paano mo ginagawa yan, that influences other things in your life. So even if you do not become a professional musician, the fact that you took up an instrument, took up any form of performing art, any form of art, you know, and studied it and you love it, it will influence you in your whatever field you're in.
Yeah.
You know, and this is important because I think being a very emotional people, we are not in touch with basically how good we can really be.
Yeah.
If we all put that same focus and into in learning. And learning comes from different forms.
Different forms.
Yes, so it's not just school.
It's not just
school.
school.
So even your form of entertainment what you watch, what you can see, that is, that can.
This is coming from Mia Capili, San Fernando, Pampanga. Hi Mia, napakaganda po ng awit at musika ng Pilipino. Sa tingin niyo po, bakit biglang pihit ang sambayanan sa K-pop? Saan po kaya nagkulang ang ating industriya para maipalaganap ulit ang OPM? Maraming salamat po. 3 p.m. the best kayo. Maraming salamat, Mia. Saan ba tayo nagkamali?
Walang mali. Kulang lang.
Kulang lang.
Yeah, and I think Korea and Japan are a good example of, because they're so strong within their own culture, they really made it a point when they decided to do classical. They sent their talented people out to study, and then eventually they all came home and they all spread this knowledge at home. And they built up their educational system so that it is at par with what is out there.
So dyan tayo medyo nagkukulang.
Dyan tayo kulang.
In understanding what we have.
And exploiting what we can and really building that potential.
And building that potential.
Yeah, the
Kasi
focus
on it. Sinasabi, Camille, di ba, we are highly talented people.
We are.
The Filipinos. You cannot believe. But sinasabi ko nga, yung isang episode ko, makakarinig ka ng kapitbahay mo, akala mo professional singer.
Yes.
Imagine if Camille can teach these people in Viva Voce to use their voice, kaya na sinabi ni Camille kanina, to learn the techniques and become great. At singing, di ba?
Anybody who wants to learn, you look for somebody who, and ano lang yan you look for the teachers, you look for the students.
Okay.
Yeah.
In looking for Viva Voce, where do they go and who do they call?
Facebook. Facebook is the easiest. But if you want to see a performance, we do have, we have that Bohem coming up in November.
In November, there's La Boheme in CCP.
At the Blockbuster.
Wala pa pong date, no? Wala pa definite date.
Well, it's November 9 to 12.
Okay, November 9 to 12
Yes.
in CCP. Is the ticket expensive?
I don't know yet.
I don't know yet.
Yeah, but I will update you, definitely, because, it's going to be...
So, Camille, please invite our viewers ating mga ka-3 p.m. to the future plans of Viva Voce and future performances.
Yes. Well, thank you po for your kind attention, and we can look up our Facebook page. We have an Instagram account also, but not just Viva Voce. I think you look at in Facebook, wala na po tayong sikreto. Lahat po ng orchestras, lahat ng venues, lahat ng companies, they all post performances. What I would really encourage is to watch live.
To watch live.
Surely 2 or 3 or 4 trips to Starbucks can get you a ticket. Yes, because if people can pay, yun din. If we watch Korean K-pop concerts and musicals for thousands and thousands of pesos, sana po yung ating mga performing arts performances you can watch, and it's much, much cheaper.
And they're much better.
And they're much, much better. And it's a different experience if you're looking for something that's you've never explored before. You can always look it up on the internet and research and then watch it live, because it's so different. Especially po, opera, you don't hear recordings really do not do it justice. It's one of those things like a play. When it has to be live. The human voice has to be heard live. And there you will hear why it's glorious, why it's beautiful.
Maraming salamat, Camille.
You're very
for
welcome.
being here and exploring this wonderful world of classical music, classical singing, this natural gift that we Filipinos have as actors, singers, performers. Napaka-natural po natin dito, mga ka-3 p.m. You cannot believe the number of talents and how good we are as artists. We just have to find our soul. We just have to find the right influences and the right teachers. Kami po ni Camille, maswerte kami dahil nahanap namin yon. But they're everywhere. We are here. Artists for Nation Building, pag ako po nakaporma ng tama, pag ako po nakahingi ng tulong sa mga kinauukulan, ipupush ko po talaga that Camille is going to be, kinukomit ko na po si Camille at ang kanyang husband, si Pablo, to be with Artists for Nation Building, to reach out to children and teach them the wonderful, wonderful world of performing arts. And thank you, Camille. And before I go, mga ka-3PM, I just like to thank my sponsors, Prince Gerald, for my shirt. Yan, nakikita po natin ang number nila dyan. Please take a screenshot. And of course, for all your printing needs, and look for Ria, and for our napakasarap na pagkain po na pinapadala ni Blush or ni Star Dakanay dito sa amin sa set, please get in touch with Blush Meat Events and Catering. Diri, maraming salamat sa padala mo tonight. Napakasarap. Ayan po ang number. Makikita nyo sa screen. Please get in touch with them. They're very good events organizer and napakasarap po nila gumawa ng mga pagkain. Ayan. At para naman po sa ating Christmas countdown, kami, ilang araw na lang ba tayo? Ayun, 75 days to go before Christmas. Nataranta ako bigla. Merry Christmas, Camille. Merry Christmas. At dyan po, ang talakayan natin nagtatapos, mga ka-3PM. Muli, Pastor, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataon na binigay ninyo na maging bahagi ng paglalahad ng mahahalagang katotohanan dito sa SMNI para sa Diyos at sa Pilipinas nating mahal. At lagi po nating tatandaan, mga ka-3PM, iisa lamang ang ating bayan na dapat nating pangalagaan. Kaya't bago ang anupaman, bago ang sarili pagkatapos sa Panginoon, Pilipinas muna. Maraming salamat po. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.